He had given several copies to girls to gauge their interest, and they declared it a success. So he was willing to offer Alcott a contract. Despite the young reader's encouragement, Alcott was unsure of what she had written. After publication of the first part on September 30th, 1868, she confessed that she had written it quickly to order and had grave doubts about its success. She was happy that the critic and writer Thomas Wentworth Higginson thought her little story was good and American. But she had no idea that thousands of girls around the country would feel the same way and make writing books for them more lucrative than any other kind of writing she had ever done. By the end of that month, the first print run of 2,000 copies had sold out, and the printing presses were busy making more to fill the growing demand. Niles then asked Alcott to write a second volume. She set to work again, writing nearly a chapter a day, so caught up in weaving the futures of her 4 March girls that she barely stopped to eat or sleep. At the new year, the manuscript of Part 2 was delivered to the publisher, and Alcott was soon hailed across the country as the children's friend. The 35-year-old Louisa May Alcott had not envisioned this career path for herself. She had grown up on the ideals of German and British Romanticism and American Transcendentalism, which promoted self-reliance and divinely inspired genius as the paths to literary success. Her neighbor and idol, Ralph Waldo Emerson, had written in his essay, Self-Reliance, to believe your own thought, to believe that what is true for you in your private heart is true for all men, that is genius. And the young Louisa had copied those words into her scrapbook. For a girl with such a mentor, and with a father who believed in the inherent divinity of every child, regardless of gender, it seemed quite possible to grow up and become a famous novelist one day, not unlike Nathaniel Hawthorne, another of her neighbors in Concord, Massachusetts. Louisa's most unusual father, Bronson Alcott, was a close friend of Emerson's. Bronson had no sons on whom he could bestow his transcendentalist principles, but he felt that girls would do just as well. He believed that genius was a flaming herald sent from God to revive in humanity the lost idea of its destiny. In his view, remarkable for his time, genius was innate in each child, male or female, but was stifled by fear and intolerance as the child grew. In his role as educator and father, he sought to counteract that process. No wonder that 2 of his 4 daughters grew up to pursue creative lives, Louisa as a writer, and May, the youngest, as an artist. As a single-minded philosopher and writer himself, Bronson was thrilled by Louisa's intense devotion to her writing. He believed, when she was only 12 years old, that one day her ready genius would make a way in the world, and perhaps even grant her fame. On her 14th birthday, he gave her a book into which he had copied her own original poetry, sending her the clear message that he endorsed and took pride in her literary efforts. He brought apples and cider up to her garret while she was working intensely, and later built her a desk, a wooden semicircle attached to the wall between the windows in her room at Orchard House, encouraging her, as her sister May put it, to live for immortality. Bronson also read Louisa's letters, written when she was away from home, aloud to Emerson and passed them on to publishers in hopes they would print them. He told her he hoped she would have the health, leisure, comforts, as you have the genius, to write a book that would reach the wider circle of readers. Her mother, Abigail, or Abba Alcott, was no less encouraging. After reading Louisa's poem The Robin, written when she was only 8 years old, Abigail told her daughter, "You will grow up a Shakespeare." Many years later,